7 main reasons why engines blow up and what you can do to prevent it. Hey, what's up guys? Rado here. We are at Parapro's garage. Brad here is the guy who is taking care of all my engine work and all the guys around here in the area. Brad, we tried to put a number on how many engines you think you built till now. What do you think?
A lot. Average probably about 20 a month or so, 15 to 20.
And you've been doing it for how many years?
Over 20.
All right, so quick math. If Brad builds 20 engines per month, that's 4,800 engines in 20 years. If he builds only 15, that's 3,600 engines in 20 years. So I came today to Brad's garage and I want to ask him, what are the main 7 reasons that you saw in your practice why those engines blow up and what we dirt bikers can do to prevent it? So what do you think is the reason number 1, Brad?
Be oil and air filter. So not doing the oil or waiting way too long, going 10 hours. I got guys that have done that, or they just don't check the air filter. It could be dusty one day and not another, and they think it was fine, and they pull it off, and there's just dirt in the air box, and it sucks in dirt. It's just a matter of time. So,
how often do you think they should do the oil changes on the 4-stroke bikes?
It just depends on where they're riding. If they're going to like Glamis, you should be doing it every day. If you're at the track, you could do it about every 5 hours and do the air filter, at the same time. Always clean it, oil it, make sure it's plenty of oil on it. That's the main reason why they usually blow up.
And so what would you say, like every other ride, do your air filter or kind of check it and see how it looks?
At least check it. But if you want to do it like every 5 hours on a 4-stroke, on a 2-stroke, about every 10 gallons of gas, change your oil, check your air filter. But if you're in dusty conditions or at Glamis or somewhere like that, you should be doing it a lot.
Okay, so when you see the engine failed because of the oil change, what are the signs in the engine once you take it apart? What goes out?
On a 4-stroke, it'd be mainly it's the piston or the cam sees up in the head, and it's because the oil, if they haven't checked it in a while, the 4-strokes burn oil, so there'll be like hardly any even left in there. No oil gets to the top. So if there's even some oil in there, it'll help the bottom, but the top end will suffer because the oil pump can't pump any oil to the top. So usually it's cam seizing up in the head, piston seizing on the cylinder. That's the main reason.
All right, so the reason number 2 would be?
Too many hours. So a lot of people will stretch it way too long. On a 2-stroke, like a 250 that's on the track getting revved up, they should be doing about 40 hours, new piston, new top end. I know a lot of people say no, but you'd rather be safe, keep it fresh. The fresher you keep that piston, the longer the cylinder is going to last. People don't understand that. They might get 100 hours out of a piston, but it's slapping all over the place, ruining the plating on the cylinder, just tearing it up. And you lost so much power, you just don't realize it because it's been so long since you had a fresh motor. But if you stay on it, on a 250, on track guys, trail guys, they can go farther because they're not revving it to the moon.
Right.
But track guys, they need to stay on it. About 40 hours. Fast kids, even a little bit sooner than that. 125s, 85s. Fast kids at 20 hours, they should be putting new ones in. I've seen so many that go just 23 or 24 and kaboom, it's just the fast kids, they blow them up. 4-strokes you can get, on a 250F around 100 hours usually for a top end rebuild. Valves and all that, you got to stay on that. 450s, you can go 150, 200 hours. KTMs, you can go a little bit longer. They do use a little bit better parts on some stuff. But nowadays, the newer bikes, they're all kind of the same. They're all built pretty good. The older bikes, you just got to stay on them. So you can get a top end about 150 on a 450 to close to 200. Whole motor build should be right behind that, around 300. I wouldn't go more than that. Because when a crank fails, then you end up ruining your cylinder. A lot of times you can take out the head as well, and it just ends up being so much money.
The reason number 3 would be?
Abusing the bike. So the guys that go out there and, panic rev the crap out of it, just beat the bikes to death, doing crazy jumps, all that just ruins stuff. These guys that jump really far and land, a lot of times they're jumping their timing. I've seen it over and over again, especially with some of the guys that like to go on the hills and jump real hard and, crack their frames and jack their motors up. And it's bad. You gotta stay within your means and within the bike, so I wouldn't go too crazy on it.
Okay. So the timing chain actually jumps in the engine if you land too hard?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Many times.
I didn't know that.
Because the way it turns over, there's a certain point where there's going to be a little bit of slack in that chain as it goes around. When the cams push the valves down, there's pressure. As soon as it comes around, it releases. And if you land, it'll skip right over it. And I've seen it, especially on KTMs with their, they have a oil pressure cam chain tensioner. I've seen it jump a lot.
All right. So the reason number 4 why your engines are failing is
probably overheating. So getting hot, so now that summer's coming, it's going to start getting a lot hotter out. A lot of guys don't pay attention to their coolant levels. They just don't. They just think it's fine. What they don't realize is when the bike's at a high RPMs, the water pumps, the shaft moves and it vibrates in there as it's spinning really fast, and a little bit of coolant's coming out. As that seal gets worse and worse, coolant starts coming out more and more, and they don't realize it, and all of a sudden they're out of coolant, and it overheats, and there it goes, and the motor just blows up. You got to stay away from overheating the bikes. When it's really hot out, just pay attention to what, make sure your coolant's always full. Make sure you don't see any water leaking out of your weep hole on the water pump seal. That's the main one. That ends up happening a lot. It might not leak when it's just idling or just revving it up a little bit, but if you really rev it and get it high RPMs, you'll see the water pump just spit out a little bit. And over time, that gets lower and lower and lower, and ends up overheating the bikes. And you can warp the heads on 2 strokes, blow the O-rings or the head gasket. 4 strokes, same thing, blow the head gaskets, and it then just causes a lot of problems.
All right, so the reason number 5 why your engines are blowing up is...
So engine maintenance. So now on 4 strokes, engine maintenance is a little different. So we got valves you need to have adjusted all the time. They need to be in spec. If they're not, you're going to have a lot of problems with valve clearance getting too tight, bikes won't start, gap getting too big, then something's wrong with that valve, and it's going to have an issue soon.
Okay, Brett. So tell us, what are the signs of my valves being out of the specs when I ride it, and how often do you think we need to check those valves?
So the first thing you'll notice is, for I would say 90% of the time, is your bike getting harder to start. Because valves, they start sucking in, they start pulling in, and the clearance is starting to get smaller and smaller, and it gets to a point where they're staying open. And when it happens, then it's almost impossible to start it. But you'll notice, a couple kick bike all of a sudden is at like 5 kicks or more, and you're trying to wonder, and you're thinking it could be, other things when it's just a valve adjustment. You should be checking your valves about every 25 hours.
Okay.
On all bikes, and just to be on the safe side, because then if you checked at 25 and they're fine, and then at 50 hours all of a sudden one valve is way off, something is wrong there, and to get on that and have someone, either you check it out or take it to someone, have them check it out, because that means something's wrong, and that's a good way to save a motor from exploding.
All right, so the next reason why your engine can blow up right here is
having the wrong jetting. So a lot of times guys will have the bike like a 2-stroke. They'll have it jetted a certain way for like a kid or something, and then they sell it, and the next guy gets it and goes out and just hauls butt on it and thinks it's running good, but it could be extremely too lean and blow up on them. Lean is always the key, because either jets can get dirty and lean out and cause problems, but always having your jetting checked to make sure your carb's clean. As long as it's running good for you and it's your bike and you jetted it, then you'll be fine. But a lot of guys that buy bikes, they don't know what it is.
Right.
They don't know what jetting's in it. You should always check it and see, ride it, look at what, Pro Circuit has a good jet spec sheet on there for everybody to look at, and that's a really good starting point. 4 strokes, it'll run funky if it has the wrong jetting in there. It just won't run right. It won't necessarily blow up with bad jetting like a 2-stroke will.
Right.
It'll just run bad, or plugged up jetting or something. So jetting's pretty, got to have that dialed in, and the hotter it gets, you got to change your jetting just a little bit to keep up with the the atmosphere If it gets hotter, usually lean it out a teeny bit, a size or two, depending on who's riding it. But yeah.
All right, and then the reason number 7, the last reason we have it today is
bad gas. So a lot of people use bad gas. Our pump gas in California is horrible. You should run an additive, or at least if you have a 2-stroke, you should be running some race gas in it. Half and half is good. Otherwise, you're just our pump gas is so bad. If you put it in a 125, you're going to get detonation right off the bat. Jetting, I know people think jetting, can fix detonation. It can't. Bad gas is bad gas. So that's going to detonate. It'll start ruining your piston really fast. It'll sound horrible. You should run, good race gas or avgas. Mix it half and half. Somewhere around there is really good. 4-strokes, when you run bad gas, the bike runs crappy. And people think it's jetting. They start chasing jets, but yet they had a 5-gallon can for 3 months in the garage. And that's what they're running, and they think it was jetting, but it was this gas sitting there the whole time. Gas has a shelf life, and it's really fast in California because our gas is just horrible.
2-stroke especially, they like a good gas. What I do with my 2-strokes, I make the F-gas, which is not too expensive. You can get an F-gas for maybe like $1 more per gallon somewhere at the airport. So you can get that F-gas and then mix it with the 91. What do you think are the differences between the different pumps? Like Shell has better fuel than somebody else?
I don't think so, no. California is so regulated with their fuels. They're all pretty much the same, and 2-strokes, most 2-strokes like to run at about 100 octane or better. So you're not getting that out of your pump gas, and pump gas is just, it's not good. It's, in other states, their gas is better than ours because they don't have to run so much additives and stuff. But even then, you should still be running, a good 100 octane or better. And the 2-stroke will last longer. It'll run cleaner. I mean, it just makes the whole 2-stroke run better. And 4-strokes makes them run better as well.
When I was growing up back in Slovakia, where I'm from originally, when you go to the gas station, you have 3 different kinds of gas. The normal, then there is a mid-grade and a super, right? So the normal was 93, the mid was 95, and the super is 98.
Oh, wow.
That's what we normally had. So then when I moved to USA and I'm seeing 87 on the gas station, I was like, hey, what is that? And 91 was like the premium, right? But that's what we have in USA. So if you're running those 2-strokes and you like to keep it wide open, then mix it with something. Put some either C12 in those good gas for the 2-strokes, right? From what's the C12 brand?
VP.
VP.
And VP also, they make VP makes a good additive, just help it boost the octane a little bit. Even if you can't afford 5 gallons of race gas, it is expensive. Just at least get the additive, get something in there to bump up the octane, and it'll help it. But avgas and race gas is the best to mix half and half, and you could stretch it out pretty far.
I think F-gas is a good way to go because it's not that expensive, but you have that higher octane, and that's the fuel for the airplane, so it should be good, right? They shouldn't be falling down from the sky. All right, my friends, well, that's about it for today. I wanted to share these 7 reasons and what you guys can do to prevent a major engine failure, and then you're going to spend a lot of money. It's good for Brad, but not so good for our wallet. So anyway, do the engine on time, and here Brad Parapros can do your engines. If you are in California, I'm gonna put his Instagram below. People can DM you, or what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Instagram's fine.
Okay, so you can DM Brad. He can do your engine. He can do your carburetors and all kind of stuff. Set it up so it runs good. He also does some custom work, some porting and some polishing and that kind of stuff. He's taking care of all my engines and Jay Clark's engines and many other people here in the area. All right, my friends. Well, that's about it for today. Thanks, Brett, for doing this video with us. And you guys don't forget, whatever you do, stay motivated. See you later.